you feel, or is that something that you've heard the coaches say to you guys a lot, is expectation versus hope?
At first it was like something that the coaches actually was teaching us and things like that, but now it's like something that the team actually like believes and actually like prides themselves on, like, because it's like we understand like the coaches can only take us so far, and we understand that we need to be able to be a player-led team rather than a coach-led team, because the coaches are going to be leaders for us as well and teach us like that's what they coach, what they paid to do. But we need to be able to have players on the team to be able to take the accountability and to be able to take the next step and being those leaders on the team to make sure that we are continuing to expect to do things and not reverting back to hope.
Well, you guys keep that hunger. What is it like to look back in the rearview mirror and not see a 3-win season, but to see 11 wins, win over them in year 6? What is that like?
It's more so just like continuing to turn the page every year. Like, we can't just, based off of last year, we understand that was a decent season for us, but we didn't accomplish our goal. So that way, this year, it's like we can't revert back to that. So that's something that when Coach Hype first came in, he just focused a lot on being able to play the next play the next year, do things like that where you're not still reverting back and just thinking about how things were that past year. So that's how we just stay away from reverting back to those 3 wins, or last year we won 11 games, just things like that.
Are you able to take some satisfaction in having, the best season in a couple decades here, or is that for, hey, year 6 of the NFL, I'm going to look back at this?
Yeah, it's definitely something that, I'll remember, just the season that we had, but it's kind of like a bitter sweet taste in your mouth, because you understand what you did and you're good, you're happy with it, but at the same time it always brings just to want to be more, want to do more, and be more successful.
How do you get to the next level?
I think for me, just getting to the next level is just continuing to perfect my game every day, coming in every day, just wanting to get better, never being complacent with where I am or being complacent with what I have, just always continuing to grow. I always want to be coachable, I always want to be able to take accountability for things. Just me being a leader for this team, I take a lot of responsibility for the defense as a unit in general. So just being able to, continue to grow as a player, as a person that people can look up to, and just being a leader for this team, I feel like that's going to be a valuable step for me to get into the next level.
What are the keys to you growing as a player?
You said what?
What are the keys to you growing as a player?
For me, I feel like the keys of me growing as a player is just continuing to work on pass rush game, affecting the quarterback more, continuing to work my hands, deflecting balls, and just being able to continue to make plays. It's just, you can never make enough plays, just being able to get to the next level. They always want to see, it's good to be a big guy that's athletic, that can move, just different things like that. So that's something I just pride myself on, just wanting to continue to make plays and improving my pass rush.
What does Omar Norman-Lott bring to this defense? Where have you kind of seen him grown?
Yeah, I see him grown. Like, you come in, he comes from a Pac-12 school, who's a lot of pass rush, so that's something he's really good at. I'm very excited to see him do that with the pass rush. But where I've seen him grown since he's been here is just in the run game, the run stop. Because, of course, in the SEC, like, it's smash mouth football. People going to try to run like, run on your defense. So that's something I've seen him. That's something that Coach G and a lot of the team have just, when talking, like, when he asks questions like what can he expect during the game or things like that, it's just something that we tell him, like, team's going to try to run you the ball. And for the most part, we've been a pretty good run defensive team, so that's something that we just pride ourselves on. We just continuing and trying to grow in the pass game.
What allowed you guys to be so successful against the run last year?
I think it's a lot of pride. We take a lot of pride in just we don't want people to be able to say, oh, it was easy to get through. And I know that's as a defensive line, we take a lot of pride because, of course, everything starts up front in the trenches. So we just continue to grow, and then now we just looking to have that same growth this year and take that next step in the pass rush game and just put them together and see what happens.
What's the difference in Tyree West today from when he got on campus?
Maturity. He's mature a lot. He's just shown that he wants to be here, he wants to get better, and he just wants to be able to show everything that he can do, everything here he can accomplish.
How was some of those young linebackers grown this offseason? Aaron Carter, even Elijah Herring?
Yeah, they done a phenomenal job in my opinion. The young guys, but you couldn't tell if you didn't know that. They carried themselves pretty well. They're real smart. They're real mature for their age, and they can play ball. So I expect great things from them too, for sure, and for all the young linebackers.
How would you describe your leadership style going into this season compared to your counterpart Keenan Pili?
Yeah, I say I lead more by example. Before I say anything, I'm going to make sure that I'm honing in on that myself, and that I'm doing what I need to do to be correct and be right in whatever it is that I'm doing. But then I'll pull a guy along if I see him not, if I see him down, having a down day, or just not doing so good that day, I talk him up, uplift him and things of that nature. And if the defense in general just feels down, I'll say something when it needs to be said.
Do you feel like the room has kind of been receptive of that from spring and summer?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Ernie, you're a micro wheel this year.
I'm right now. I'm at Will, but I could interchange. I've always played Will and Mike. Past couple years. So wherever they want to put me, really.
Which one did you play in the Orange Bowl?
Played Will.
Okay,
Will,
are you one more comfortable than the other? Or?
I know pretty much both of them well. I say this though, at the Will linebacker, at the Will position, it's a lot more. You're outside of the box a little more. You're able to play a little more free. As so as if you're playing Mike, you're in the box more. You're in the middle of the field more. You're in a lot of space more. So there's a couple differences between the two. Me personally, I like Will more just because as free I feel at Will, I don't feel as free at Mike. So.
You can make more plays at will, right?
Yeah. That's how the defense is. I guess you could say that. Will's the fun spot.
Sometimes we think of the offense as their personality as attacking. Is that's the personality of the defense too, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. We want to attack. We want to play fast. We want to play in the backfield a lot, and we just want to make plays. So yeah, we want to attack for sure.
Offense gets headlines a lot on this team. Was it gratifying last year that defense? There were defensive wins last year. Vandy, Kentucky, the Orange Bowl, LSU. Those were defensive wins. Was that gratifying?
Yeah, most definitely. All props to our offense. I feel we really do have one of the best offenses in the nation. But you don't win 11 games without a good defense. So there's definitely some things I feel we can improve on and get better on, and which we will do. Yeah, man, I love our defense. We play fast and we attack.
There's been a lot of talk about emotionally resetting after bad plays. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be the way you want it to. Our coaches tell us all the time, snap and clear, move on to the next play. It don't matter if you just had the greatest play ever or if you had the worst play ever. The next play is all that matters. You can have a great play and the next play you give up a bomb. That great play don't matter to me. You just gave up a bomb. So I say snap and clear. That's always my mentality. No matter good play or bad play, just move on to the next play.
Doneiko kind of talked about relying on teammates in that aspect as one of the leaders on this defense. Do you feel like that's one of your roles, is to kind of pick up some guys when they maybe don't have the best play? Yeah, most definitely. We're gonna have bad plays. That's just a given. It's inevitable, but just uplifting those guys, and I'm gonna need it sometimes too. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be perfect in that area as far as being snap and clear and moving on to the next play. So of course I'm gonna lean on my guys to uplift me when I have a bad play. So we all working together in that area.
Awesome. What's difficult for the position you play? What's difficult? Why is this offense so difficult to contain?
Just their tempo, the tempo that they run in so fast and it gets to the next play so quickly. So they'll try to get you tired and they'll just keep attacking you and see if you really have that endurance and that strength to keep going. So yeah, I just really say that tempo.
What about coverage? Is it difficult sometimes to read keys in this when you're looking for offensive keys to read them in this offense?
Not really, because they wide spread. They spread the ball out, spread the alignments, offensive receivers a lot. So you can really get a little tendency of what they're looking for and what matchups they're on.
So can you usually tell from the alignment? If you got where you can read it pretty good as to what they might be doing, like if they're going to go with the bubble screen or or if he's going to go deep, that kind of thing?
Well, they mix it up so much, so you never really know. So, we reaction players, so, they give you a little, I guess, bubble screen fake and release, and that's when you're getting a screen and go, because they did that. But no, they mix it up here and there, so they go so quickly, so you never really know what you're going to get. You just expect to get a bubble or double move or whatnot.
Thanks, Doneiko.
There's been a lot of talk about emotionally resetting after kind of bad plays. What does that look like for you as you try to move on from a poor play?
Emotionally resetting, just having competitive composure. So just snapping clear if it's a bad play, just snapping clear. As a team, we just had our standard of just checking the other brother, just pump your chest so you can know to reset and refocus. If you lose control and you get emotionally outburst.
How do you feel like there's a lot of veterans up front on the defense, at linebacker in the secondary? How do you feel like that kind of helps the younger guys as they get their feet wet?
A lot, yeah, exponentially. It helps a lot. Aaron Beasley, even Keenan Pili. He came in from BYU, so yeah, he came in like nothing. So he learned the playbook well. So he really helped the younger guys develop their leadership skills as well. So he's building character all around.
Doneiko, you guys are bringing in a lot of new pieces in that secondary. Who in particular are you most excited for?
I'm really excited to see what Dante can do. Yep, Dante, Jordan. He looks like a freak. Great athletic ability. So yeah, him especially, and Keenan Pili, big body linebacker. He looks like he have a lot of composure and leadership. So I'm really excited for him too.
Versatility is something that you know well inside this Tennessee defense. How important is it for every component, every person that is playing out there on the field to be versatile within Tennessee's program?
Very important, very important. Coach Banks, he always reiterates knowing every position, so you can know where your help is, especially as a DB, so you know exactly where they're going to throw the ball or not. Yeah.
Coach Banks kind of an aggressive play caller. Do you think that kind of fits your play style?
Yes. Being an aggressive play caller, shows you're not scared to, send the heat, showing you're not scared to, believe in your players. So yeah, I love that about him.
What's the number one thing you feel this defense needs to do to improve upon last year's performance on the field?
I'll say everything. To our details and our techniques and what coverage we're in, our urgency of how we're going about the next play and tackling, just every aspect, even watching film on the opponent. We can level our allegiance at that anyway.
Citizen James Pierce Jr.
I'll tell anybody, James and Josh are two kids that they can do whatever they want in this sport as well. Their talent and their potential is unlimited. But just seeing both of those guys really buy into the playbook, just take their role and maximize it. They're two versatile guys. Size is at an abundance with those two guys. So yeah, I just think they bought into the program and they really are ready to have a breakout season.
Coach Banks says you've always had the talent, arguably one of the best players on defense. What does it mean to kind of hear, your coach talk to you in that way?
It's just a blessing to know that he believes in me as much as I believe in myself. But I think the best things are still ahead, and just buying in more and just being more consistent, I think it comes with a lot more.
He says you were kind of banged up the past, season. Where do you hope to maybe take the most strides this season now that you're kind of recovering?
For me, the biggest stride I want to take is just being more consistent. I think I've showed that I can win a lot of one-on-ones and make plays, but just being more consistent and being that dominant force the entire year.
Where do you see maybe your leadership role kind of taking off this season, bringing the new guys along? I know it's even fast-paced on defense as well.
I see my leadership just being more consistent. I feel that I've done great things in spurts, but just being that guy all the time, being that consistent example for the younger guys in the room, guys that may be on the ledge, but just showing them that the right way will lead to the right things.
What aspect of your game are you trying to really hone in on this fall camp?
Really just being a consistent pass rusher, stopping the run more consistently. But in the pass rush game, winning a lot of one-on-ones and making it where our coaches don't always have to send an extra guy, but being able to get through free sometimes and just helping everybody else eat, whether that be setting up other open guys, helping other guys from the outside, just whatever I can do, honestly. I just want to just help this team be as good as we can be.
Anyone on defense catching your attention right now?
It's hard to break it down to just one guy, but coming out of the spring, I would say a few guys up front. Omar Norman Lott, he's really showed a lot. James Pierce, he's done a really good job of just taking that next step and being what we needed him to be. But I mean, that's just two guys. But I mean, I could tell you an abundance of names. But yeah, everybody's really taking a step in the right direction.
What about on the offensive end? Has anyone kind of surprised you with their growth?
Really, the offense as a whole, it's crazy to think that they could take a step, but it feels like they get more comfortable in what Coach Hype wants them to do every time. So they just keep getting better as a unit, honestly.
It's kind of common sense, but how big is it to get a push up front with 4 guys and kind of helping out the backside of the defense?
Oh, I mean, it's imperative. If you can't win with 4, then it's hard to be a good defense. So I think that's just really honing in on that and trying to help the whole defense. If we get a good rush, it helps the guys on the back end. If they cover good, it helps us on the front end. So I think we're just trying to be one good unit, just moving unison, honestly.
Cooper said he only brings out guys with the duck blind that he trusts. Doesn't sound like he trusts you out there.
So me and Cooper, I've never went hunting or anything of that like that in my life, but Cooper's a good guy. It's a good friend I've had since high school.
Speaking of summer activities, just what were some of the things that you might have been doing over the summer to get away from football, to get your mind off things before coming back in and getting ready for the fall?
I wouldn't necessarily say you all the way can get away from football, but just taking time out, me just going to see family or just trying to spend time by myself, just making sure my mind's in the right place. But yeah, just relaxing, honestly.
You're talking about keeping your mind in the right place during the summer. How do you do that during the season with all the ups and downs that the season can provide? How do you keep your mental in check?
I think the biggest thing for me is just being able to stay where your feet are at, not looking forward to it too much, not being anxious about it, but just being in the moment, honestly, just enjoying what I'm doing in the second.
How pivotal would you say versatility is inside of the Tennessee defense?
I think it's imperative. Coach Banks likes to put us in a bunch of different formations or different looks that he likes to give. So just having body types that can do a few different things, it keeps us really fluid and makes it easy for him to call plays.
What would you say is the number one thing that the defense is looking to improve upon after last year's performance?
Really, I think last year, we showed that we can do it. I mean, that's never been a question, but just being more consistent and just having better chemistry together, I think that's the biggest thing for us.
Like Cooper, you made that short journey from Knoxville Catholic, where you played your senior year, to the University of Tennessee as senior. Tyler Barron. Is there anything, if you could tell incoming freshman Tyler Barron, what would be some of that advice you impart?
I would just tell myself to just not think that you know everything and just try to learn every day, because life never stops teaching. So I feel like you always can learn, and you can always get something from anybody. Everybody's a teacher. You're never too big to take knowledge from anybody. Everybody has something to teach you, honestly.
And then you don't normally see this kind of representation, but there are 6 former members, you included, of the Fighting Irish here on the roster. What is that like? And also give me an impression or two of Trevor Duncan since you've seen him around.
No, I mean, it's awesome. Just seeing Catholic producing guys and that can go chase their dreams on the next level. But Trevor, I mean, he's a good guy. He's a little quiet. We're trying to get him to get a little bit more comfortable around everybody. But no, he's a great dude. I really appreciate him trusting that Coach G was going to take him to where he needs to be. So I'm excited he's here.
You mentioned some of the things that you do to help you reach your full potential during the off season. What's some of your biggest advice to incoming guys who haven't been as experienced inside this program, for them to find their full potential?
I think it really starts to when you really buy into what the coaches are saying. I think it's easy to listen, but it's a difference between hearing something and actually listening. So getting the message out of what they want and not taking the tone of the delivery, but the actual message inside of it. So I think just trusting and not being so hard to shy away from information.
What are some of the biggest expectations you have for yourself this upcoming season?
The biggest thing I want for myself is just to be consistent. If I'm consistent in my process, the way I approach things, I know the rest of it's going to take care of itself.
For you, just where have you kind of grown, I guess, the most since the spring? Is it tough coming in as a guy that's played a lot of football elsewhere and then kind of has to go to a new school?
Yeah. I feel like the biggest thing for me, I told someone else, you kind of feel new, and I'm starting to not feel new at all anymore. I think that's kind of a good part, being able to grow in the system, grow in the culture. It's been cool.
Coach Banks said he thinks the more you get comfortable, the more vocal you're going to be. You think that's something you've kind of worked on and something you kind of want to show in fall camp?
For sure. I think my big thing was I didn't want to, you want to work from the bottom, with new guys and be able to gain that respect. And I wanted to focus on that and be there for the team aspect, for sure.
How much has Aaron Beasley kind of helped with your, I guess, transition into this level?
Big. Like I said, he's the first guy that I connected with, and he's helped me since the beginning I got here. Playbook, off field, on field, it's been huge.
I know you talked about it in the spring. You played here, I guess, in 2019, right? And just what was that experience like, and just how much did that help in your decision to transfer?
Really, it was just, I had a cool experience there. Obviously, the environment was crazy at the time, and I feel like the people were super nice at the hotel, and really that's all I knew about Tennessee, or it being an SEC school. But now that I've been able to be here and feel it and see it, it's been cool.
What is the thing you like about Knoxville or the University of Tennessee outside of football that you've enjoyed or appreciated the most since you've been here?
Man, I've been trying to get into the fishing scene. I enjoy that when I do have time. But other than that, me and my wife, we try to go to a new spot to eat like every week. It's kind of something fun we try to do. So.
How successful has the fishing team been?
The fishing?
Yeah.
Low. It's on the lower end of success. I haven't figured it out yet.
What have been your favorite spots that you guys have eaten so far?
And I'm trying to think. Like, Southern Grit was good.
It is good.
We just tried Stock and Barrel. That was pretty good. Another spot and a breakfast spot. Ruby's.
Yeah, Ruby Sunshine.
Yeah, that was good too. Yeah, we tried that too.
Keenan, and throughout your career, as you've navigated the NIL marketplace, how do you figure out what is my market value? What am I worth? How do you learn that?
Yeah, it's still a new area, and I feel like I try not to focus too much in the area of NIL. Just it being, it's an amazing thing. I feel like we've all benefited from it, and I try not to focus too much on it. Let the play do most of the NIL. And that's kind of been my focus on it. Nothing too special or focusing on how I market myself. I just try to be who I am and be that person every day.
What was your experience like in the portal?
Yeah, the portal, it's a crazy period. I told everybody it's like recruiting on steroids. It's not like the high school recruiting. Because, I chose Tennessee, but a week prior, 2 weeks prior, you don't know where you're going, but it all happens that quick. So I say that's the biggest part of the portal is the speed.
We hear about culture all the time, and obviously that's something that seems to be going really well here. You've experienced it a couple different places. What's culture like at Tennessee versus BYU?
Yeah, it's actually very similar. Like, the one thing I love about Tennessee is that family feel, that brotherhood on the team. There being so much camaraderie and a common goal, and no cliques aside. Like, it's really just a family that's trying to work towards one purpose. And I think that's one of the big highlights of Tennessee is Coach Hype being able to build that culture.
Coach Heupel talked about playing basketball with some of the guys. Have you gotten into hoops with Coach Heupel?
I've shot around with Coach Hype at his house before. I may or may not have won, but he competes.
Is he a trash talker on the court?
Oh yeah.
Do you think that culture at Tennessee has kind of allowed you to step in and become a leader since getting here?
Yeah, I try to lead where I can. I feel like I fit it perfectly into it because the culture matches exactly what I do in my life or what I felt the team should be. So it's really easy, smooth transition for me.
How would you describe your leadership style in the locker room?
Yeah, I feel like I'm always someone who's can be composed when situations get hot, and I may not be the most energy, and I leave other people to bring the energy. But when the times get tough and stuff is hitting the fan, I feel like I'm always someone who can be composed and to be able to help the situation gather together and get it rocking.
What do you think about that front seven or even maybe the front four to try to get some pressure to where you don't have to send as many blitzes? What have you seen from those guys?
Nothing but good things, man. This D-line here is amazing, and we're blessed because not only are they big boys, can stop the run, they're very athletic, very nimble, and can get to the pass. So we're expecting a lot from the D-line this year.
We've seen Aaron Beasley step up as a leader this offseason on the defense.
Bees, he been a leader, really. He not much of a vocal leader. He like to lead by example. He say stuff when he need to, but yeah, he lead by example. He's a good dude. And that's how you want to go about your business, like Bees.
Of course, a versatile player. Do you have an idea of where you're going to spend the most time as a Death Star again?
Yeah, it looked like it, but I've been learning a little free. Well, I know free, I know strong. If I got to go back there, I will, but yeah, I've been in Star still.
Do you like being in coverage more, or do you like coming down and playing the run and trying to thump somebody?
A little bit of both. I like to hit more than anything. I'd say that.
Do you like playing in Tim Banks' offense then, as he kind of likes to get aggressive? With defense, yeah, sorry.
I like playing in defense. It's fun. they really let you, play your own kind of style as long as you're doing the right thing and where you're supposed to be at the right time. So.
How have you DBs tried to bond off the field?
Like the other week, we had a barbecue. We was all out there barbecuing, chilling. We all bought a lot of hot dogs, little burgers, chicken, so that kind of stuff. We went to Top Golf, not like last month, so that type of thing.
Who was the main one on the grill?
BT. He was the only one on the grill. I was throwing the barbecue sauce.
How would you assess on a scale of 1 to 10 how successful he was?
10. It was 10.
Any guys that you wouldn't let even close to the grill?
BT, I think he's the only one in the group that do know how to barbecue.
You've got some young guys in that room as well. Who kind of stood out this offseason as y'all get into fall camp?
Ricky Gibson. He stood out. All of them really stood out. Ricky Gibson, John Slaughter, Jack Luttrell. They both come down and hit. Like I said, that's what I like. So they all looking good. Of course they still got more room to grow and develop, but they're looking good. In spring, they all look good.
Sam, when you go against this offense in practice, what's the biggest challenge for a defensive back going against this offense?
Speed. I would say that's the biggest thing, the speed. Especially, I only go against it out in practice, but I can only imagine what it's like going against it in front of 100,000 people. And we sometimes get lost in practice when they're going fast, so you know what I'm saying? Like I said, 100,000 people will make it even more crazy.
I'm sure this has been addressed, but take us through the haircut. When was the last time it was this short?
Probably 8th grade, back in middle school. I've been growing it out since 9th grade. Wanted to try something new going into my senior year.
Which receiver would you say you dread having to square up with the most?
Square away. I think I said the same thing last year. He fast, so you got to bag up a little bit with square.
You came in here with a couple of teams, one of which is no longer here, Martavis. But you also play against them this year. How much do you and Bryson kind of relish that? And how much do you think it's neat for Coach Salisbury at Whitehaven to, that game?
I know Coach Salisbury coming out almost every game now. I know he's ready to come to that one. And I can't wait to see Frenchie either. We were just talking about that the other day. He ready to come back, see us. We don't really see him every day because he ain't here anymore, but I think it's going to be fun. And of course, we're going to take some pictures after that game.